A few weeks ago, I got a comment under one of my videos asking if the reviewer recommends any movies ever. And that got me thinking, you're right. I never recommend stuff. I just talk shit. Whew, this whole scene. Evan and Rebecca are competing for who sounds worse in French, and the winner is Evan. I think we're either having mass psychosis or Netflix is investing all of their budget into creating fake AI positive reviews of this film. Which is why this next scene felt like a slap and a Xanax that put us all to sleep. I just know everyone is desperate for cop movies right now. This is when we need it. He looks like someone who would go unbotched and be turned away from surgery because he's taking things too far. And then they shovel the point down your throat, but then they throw in Ashton Kutcher in there because you look like a fool. You look like a donkey. I ran out of the room. And Ashton's casting aside, which is enough to throw the whole thing in the trash. So I thought a good solution for that would be to literally walk you through everything that I've watched and give you my thoughts. That way you'll know what to watch and what to avoid. Also stick around for my final thoughts on Heated Rivalry. I've seen a lot of you asking, when is it going to be out? And it's now. Full context coming towards the end of the video. I'll leave timestamps down below. Also make sure to follow me on StutterBox if you haven't already. I finally created an account, which is weird to say considering what I do for a living. Should have had one, so rectifying my wrongs. And the first movie that I watched in January is Primate. Okay, I wrote in my review, the characters were so dumb, I wanted to jump in and help Ben finish the job. Primate follows a chimpanzee who lives with a family. He's like, I don't know, a test subject, part of the family. He was raised by the family in captivity, and he gets bitten by a mongoose or something, and he gets rabies. And then he attacks the family that he lives with, and I've never seen a cast of characters so fucking stupid. The whole time I thought the chimpanzee has to win. Like, not to spoil anything, but there is a scene in the middle of the movie. They're all inside the pool, right? They're in the water to get away from Ben. Ben, the chimpanzee with rabies. And at one point, he's on the edge of the swimming pool. In front of Ben, there's a pool with a bunch of people trying to get away from him. Behind him is a really steep cliff, right? If he's pushed or if he falls, he'll die. And in my mind, the first thing you would do is splash the monkey. It'll confuse him, it'll get him like to cover his eyes, and hopefully you can push him. But instead, a young man with the confidence of 50 men tries to push the chimpanzee. And of course, you know, you can imagine what happens, not to spoil the movie, but it was so fucking dumb. You've heard of one gorilla versus 100 men. This is one chimpanzee versus 100% stupid people. Nonetheless, the movie is quite cool in the sense that it's got good kill scenes. The kill scenes are actually phenomenal. The gore is really good and juicy. If you like fun horror movies, then you should definitely watch it, but just know that you'll be rooting for the chimpanzee. Next up, we've got Avatar, Fire and Ash. Listen, I'm never gonna say it's a bad movie because they are wildly entertaining, but my review does say great visuals, beautiful visuals. And that's really about it. This is like the third one in the series, and it's just the same story. Great visuals. Beautiful visuals. Next up, we've got Wake Up Dead Man, the third movie in the Knives Out series of films, and I originally had this as 5 stars, but then it got me thinking, no, I gotta dock them something for casting Mila Kunis. So that's why it's got 4.5 stars. I just love anyone willing to shit on Christians. Like, truly, honestly, the best thing we can do is make fun of Christians. And I say that as someone who was raised Christian and has a fervent desire to see them lose in life. Because y'all are stupid. Next up, one of my 5-star movies of the month, Pillion. Ray, if you're reading this, take me to the woods next. It follows a very introverted man who meets this hot biker, and they enter a sort of sub-dom relationship, and it's a coming-of-age story that isn't really coming of age because he is a grown-up, but it's watching these two characters from wildly different worlds build this relationship, creating boundaries as they go, and seeing how the crossing of the boundaries and how their expectations change as the movie goes. And not to spoil anything, but the ending was, I think, very well done. Like, they really landed the plane, the story. And one of my favorite things that it does is it doesn't sacrifice the realism for the desired fantasy of an outcome. It's unfortunate that it's not getting the visibility that it deserves, because it does have some very, very interesting intimate scenes, but it doesn't take it too far. I think it's a nice balance that it will satisfy members of this community of subdoms, but also be accessible enough for anyone else who doesn't have any experience in that world. And yeah, Ray, if you're reading this, take me to the woods next. Next up, we got The Housemaid. I have a full review recap of this on my channel, so I'll spare you the bullshit, but Amanda Seyfried, you will get the recognition you deserve, and Sydney Sweeney. Just a side note that she just said recently that she doesn't ever see herself being political because she's here for the arts. She's an artist. And I don't know who has to tell her that art is inherently political, and if it's not, then you're not doing art. But it's a very convoluted way of her telling us that her politics would not go down well with the audience that she has. Or maybe they would. I mean, most of her audience members are not right-wing people, right? I give it 4 stars because I am a slut for these fun, stupid, thrilling movies, but would have been better with someone less brain dead at the forefront. Next, we got His and Hers. Also have a full review recap of that on my channel. And you know what? Everyone is either incredibly incompetent or tremendously stupid. The twist was good, though. Yeah. Stranger Things 5, the finale. Listen, watching the last season of the show really was just a wake-up call. There's a lot of rumors that the Duffer Brothers, one of them got divorced, and it was his wife that was writing all the episodes from season 1 to season 4. And you know what? The more I read into it, the more I thought, yeah, that tracks. This was written by ChatGPT. It's got ChatGPT dialogue, unfinished, unnecessary, underdeveloped, plain stupid plot lines, a criminal ending. Like, Game of Thrones is in a corner laughing. What an absolute disgrace. I mean, it started off in controversy and it ends in the worst fucking possible way with controversy. The Duffers will get what they deserve. Next, we got The Rip. I gave it 2 stars because there was some pew-pew in there, and Ben Affleck and Matt Damon looked very fuckable. Listen, don't get mad at me. Get mad at them for, finally looking... very disappointing that they didn't even kiss, let alone rip into each other. I stand by this review. I think that going into it, I really expected some man-on-man action. There was some man-on-man action, just not as intimate as I expected. It really is a filler movie to play in the background. I don't know why I gave it 2 stars. I should have given it 1, but... Next up, 28 years later, The Bone Temple, another one of my 5-star reviews this month. Guys, the 28 days, months, years movies are not for me, okay? I'm not the target audience. I understand that. I tried watching the original trilogy. I was never able to get into it, and I watched last year's 28 years later. Was also not for me. I admit that, but I'm not going to dock it because I understand why other people like it. This movie, however, wow. Just kidding. I'm NHS, no charge. That's probably my favorite line of the entire film. This movie really, took me out. I was not expecting to like it so much. Well, I was not expecting to like it at all. I just watched it because, I thought, why not? Nia DaCosta proving that Marvel really does just hate women, because this movie is phenomenal. I wouldn't call it a zombie movie, and that's probably why I liked it, because I have zombie exhaustion. I do not like zombie stories anymore. I think we've done so many variations of it that enough's enough. This, however, puts such a nice spin into it, such a gory, demented story set in a world where there just happens to be zombies. But the zombies don't really play that much of a role in this film as much as people do. And I think that's one of the running themes of the previous movies, that the real horror in a zombie apocalypse aren't the zombies, it's the people surviving. But I don't know, this movie just really drove that point so hardcore. Phenomenal work. I was not expecting it. Brava. Stranger. Just kidding. I'm NHS. No charge. I'm gonna try not to freak out over this one because I think I want to do a dedicated video to send help injected into my veins. This movie. Sam Raimi, Rachel McAdams, match made in heaven. If you like Sam Raimi, you are gonna fucking love this. It's got all of his best qualities. That's it. This movie is phenomenal. This is for everyone and anyone who's ever had a boss they wanted to, and I know that's all of us. This movie was made for all of us, except the CEOs and the executives. Y'all can choke. Send Help follows 2 coworkers who get stranded in an island after a plane crash. And Rachel McAdams, the fucking queen icon legend that you are. I cannot believe this woman is 47. I was afraid that the trailer had shown too much, but after watching the movie, They didn't. They were really able to subvert my expectations. I can't say much more other than go watch this movie, send help. I want to scream. Ah! Inject it into my veins. Yeah. Then I rewatched Jawbreaker because I was thinking of doing a trilogy of Mean Girls movies, and it was going to be Jawbreakers, Heathers, and Mean Girls, and I was going to do a little ranking of like who did it best and yada yada. And then I rewatched the film, and can I say something without people getting mad at me? I think the memory of this film tends to be better than the film itself. And I think that's a product of nostalgia and having watched this movie in a different time, I guess. I don't know what it is about it. I was watching it and I could see the vision, but I'm not sure if the vision was fully like if it really came together the way that it was meant to. My review just says I too refuse to eat in front of people. I think that's hilarious, and I think that inspired Ryan Murphy with Scream Queens. And that's one of the reasons I give it 3.5 stars. I think that movies like this, though I don't think they are as great as some people consider them, I do think that they were very groundbreaking and pioneering in some of the tropes they set up. But other than that, I really wanted to have liked it more than I did. And the ending just felt what the hell was I no. Okay, yeah. Next up, Mercy. So fun thing I realized is that you can give movies 0 stars, and this movie somehow worse than I expected, and I expected the worst. This combines the worst of AI with the worst of movies about technology with the most disgusting visuals. Like it's on par with War of the Worlds, but because it has a better cast, it got a theatrical release, and I don't know why. And I think that Rebecca Ferguson needs to be rescued. I don't know who her agent is, but the fact that she was allowed anywhere near this trash disaster of a movie should be fired. Like I don't know who watched this movie back after it was edited and thought, yeah, that's something that we should post. Sorry, quick backstory. Mercy follows a man on trial for the murder of his wife, and this is set in an alternate reality future where humans have developed a program called Mercy. It's an AI program that handles all of trials for all of the crimes. The AI is the jury, judge, and executioner. And so Chris Pratt's character, yes, Chris Pratt, I know. Why? Chris Pratt wakes up and he basically has to prove his innocence in the murder of his wife. And you know the movie Searching and Missing, where all you see is the computer screen? Well, imagine that, except it's not a computer screen. It's a man inside of an empty room, and there's just going to be holographic shit constantly popping up. It's so ugly. Oh my god. It's first of all, it's a headache to try and keep up. They do that thing where they just like overload you with so much information and so many like shifting visuals. It's seizure inducing. You thought War of the Worlds was bad. At least that had a camp factor to it. Mercy is like War of the Worlds, except they really mean it. They are being so dead serious. Like, yes, we are taking this shit seriously. And it's so bad. I feel like I came out of the movie a worse person, like with more hate inside of my heart. That can just be because I had to stare at Chris Pratt for more than an hour, but my point still stands. Somehow worse than I expected, and I expected the worst. Ooh, next we got Return to Silent Hill. This is one that I really wanted to like. I loved Silent Hill 2006. I don't know why. I've never played the game, so like I'm not the best critic to be talking about Silent Hill movies, but he has to be the dumbest man to ever be. Return to the Silent Hill is the adaptation of the second video game, and it follows James, who goes back to Silent Hill at the request of his estranged wife or ex-wife. And I personally liked some aspects of the film. Like I liked some of the visuals and some of the creatures, but this main character has to be the most distracting person ever. First of all, that wig. I refuse to believe that that is his hair, and if that's his hair, someone do something about it. It was so distracting. Somehow not worse than Silent Hill Revelations, but it was pretty disappointing. I just think it's so unfortunate that they ruined the entire film with bad casting. He has to be the dumbest man to ever be. Next up, we got Heathers. Much like Jawbreaker, I feel like this is another one that I rewatch and think, oh, I thought it was better. I remember it being better. You know what? Good for them. I mean that. I think the movie accomplished a lot. Obviously, it's a staple. It's a point of reference for a lot in pop culture that came after that. So that can never be understated or ignored, and that's why I gave it 4 stars, because it's genuinely a cool movie. But I also think that maybe it's because it's a product of its time. I think it gets lost a little bit, especially towards the third act. I think it loses what it's trying to say. I think the message just gets completely lost in translation. It's just they start doing too much. Nonetheless, you know what? Good for them. Now, this, however, led me to starting to watch the Heathers TV series. Guys, show of hands, show of comments, who here has watched Heathers the TV series? Came out in 2018 and it got pulled from distribution. And then I think they tried to erase it completely because of some controversies around school shootings that were happening at the time. You know, Americans will always be more angry at the depiction of violence than the actual violence that inspires it, which is why they pulled the show out of respect for the shootings. Nonetheless, the series then turned out to be just really fucking bad. Like, really bad. And I haven't seen anyone talking about it. So I was going to talk about the movie, but the movie's been talked to death about. So instead, I think I'm going to take a jab at the series. I've actually started watching it, and it is so beyond terrible. I cannot wait to share with you guys. So, you know, subscribe and follow the channel for when that comes out. Then there was Eternity. They had one job, and that job in my mind is to not make her choose. I think that this movie has such an interesting premise. If you don't know, this is about three people who are stuck in the afterlife, and you have a woman who has to choose who she wants to spend eternity with. If it's her first husband who died at war when she was in her early 20s, the one that got away, the one she never had the chance to live a life with, or her second husband who she never loved as much as she loved her first one, but she did build a long, happy-ish life with him. And I think they had one job in the sense that I really wish they would make a mainstream movie where the story is about a throuple or someone who's faced with, you know, the ultimate choice of who do I love most, and instead of choosing one over the other, they just make an arrangement and find a way to make it work so the person can date the other two. You know what I mean? I don't know. Polyamory needs a bigger stage, and this would have been the perfect movie. Nonetheless, I gave it 4 stars because this is really a beautiful movie, and it did make me cry. There was a little tear. And lastly, All Our Fault. I have a full review and recap of that on my channel, so I won't bore you again with the details, but I gave it 3.5 stars, and it wasn't more because I don't think that the men suffered enough. I did try and log in It Welcome to Derry, but I couldn't find it. It Welcome to Derry. I reviewed the episode 1 and 2. It's on my channel. I'll leave a link down below as well for you to go see that, check that out. But the rest of the season, wow, I can't believe that even after all of that CGI, they still made me cry. The kids are so good, like they should be getting the recognition that the kids in Stranger Things got. I thought it was gonna get too clownery, too buffoon, too stupid, but no, it actually kind of, yeah, it kind of worked. It Welcome to Derry, highly recommend. And lastly, Heated Rivalry. I've spoken about episodes 1 through 5 in the past, and I was going to do a last video recapping the last episode with my final thoughts attached to it. And then I decided not to because the fandom got a little crazy. Then I considered making a video on why Heated Rivalry is the reason why we can't have nice things, but that felt too exploitative. So instead, I threw in the review at the end of my January recap, which may be a stupid decision, but it's getting too crazy. Like, Heated Rivalry episode 6 was, in my opinion, the best episode of the entire season. By episode 5, my expectations were through the roof, and somehow they did not disappoint. After watching episode 6, I read the book, and then I rewatched the season, and that made me like it even more. And I think that one of the points of success of the series is how faithfully they adapted the story. Like, there are some very slight changes in a couple of the events, but the changes are so minimal that they really maintained the soul, the heart and soul of the entire show. And I think that the actors really played the characters beautifully, especially after reading how they were written and how they feel internally, emotionally in every scene. Reading the book really made me appreciate the story on screen more. And as we know, it became a global phenomenon that everyone is talking about it, was talking about it, and it's become slightly insane to the point where, of course, when you have these shows exploding and you have really passionate passionate fandoms. I don't like calling them passionate fandoms because they're not passionate. They're just fucking deranged. First, they came for Hudson Williams for a letterbox account that turned out didn't even belong to him. It belonged to someone that he knew. Not to count all of the racist hatred that he got. So a lot of you are so comfortable spewing the nastiest shit on the internet. I don't understand like the lack of shame. I think we need to bring shame back. Not Shane. Shame. Then, of course, the whole conversation gay for pay and people pressuring the actors to label themselves as something. And it's like we didn't learn anything from Kid Connor. I understand wanting gay actors to play gay characters and queer actors to play queer characters. I get all of that. But at what point do we do too much, right? Because we say that we want gay actors playing gay characters, but then the fandom attacks the one actor who is actually out. Which brings me to what has really disappointed me the most and was like really, really depressing has been all of the hatred that Francois Arnault is receiving. He plays Scott Hunter. And it's all because people have like fantasies of who should date who in real life. And then a swirl of rumors and a bunch of what I assume are angry teenagers in their mom's basements just spewing hatred. Like people that don't understand the weight of their words, because I refuse to believe that people who write this on someone's page like actually mean it. And if they do, then like how do we reform this level of evil and of stupid and of nasty, right? I also think there's a lot of hyperbole surrounding this show. Like I see a lot of people calling this the best thing to have ever been done for gay people. And it's like, no, maybe not. You know, there's a lot of other things that have been created. Not to say that one is better than the other, but there's a lot of people that are holding this show like as the best thing to have ever been done, and they are guarding it, protecting it like rabid dogs, thinking that any type of criticism is an attack. But then there's the deranged lunatics who create fantasies about actors dating each other in real life, these shipping accounts like Hudson and Connor, and it's like this projection on real people, you can tell comes from teenagers, right? So when you're reading through the comments and you see a bunch of people telling Francois to kill himself just because they think he's ruining someone's life, mind you, none of their business, nothing confirmed. It's just all like thoughts and prayers going on in their minds. And they flood people's pages with so much hate. Do we not see how brain dead we have to be? It's a show about closeted hockey players who can't come out because of the backlash. And y'all are bullying the only actor who is actually out as anything. It's honestly stupid. And then there was also the Empty Netters podcast. I don't know if y'all have seen that. It's these straight dudes who have a hockey podcast, and they are self-described failed screenwriters who try to write faithful hockey stories in Hollywood. And they started reacting to Heated Rivalry, and they were having the most wholesome reactions, and they amassed a large fandom of people that were coming to their channel specifically just to watch them gush over Heated Rivalry, because it's very sweet to see straight men who would otherwise be the villains in gay people's lives actually be so accepting and celebrating something that gay people are holding so dear to their hearts and are actually enjoying it, and they're seeing the value in telling these stories. So color me unsurprised when someone leaked a few text messages of one of the podcast hosts with some not so nice words about the show before he watched it. And this is really terrible because Empty Netters, a podcast, were trying to capitalize on the show by creating merch related to Heated Rivalry, whilst privately saying that this show was taking off boxes and it only worked because it pandered and it ticked inclusivity boxes and it was going to make all of the blue-haired liberals on Twitter happy or something. It was just like, it was the level of insult that you'd expect from homophobes on a daily basis. So the podcast hosts put out a video basically putting it into context to show they weren't bashing the show. Their reactions were genuine, basically trying to save face. And the texts were sent a week before they started reviewing the series. And they thought that by putting it into context, like we actually said this before we watched it, that it would make the situation better. But I don't think it's the timing of what was said. It's actually what was said. That also left a sour taste in my mouth. Like straight men who are bashing this show in private and then in public pretending to be allies and actually making money out of it. Are you insane? And this is why we can't have nice things, because some of y'all just fucking ruin it for everyone. And that's what I've watched in January. I usually watch a lot more than that. It's been a slow month, okay? But I also have watched a lot of TV series for the channel. So each of them being 8 hours long. It's a lot. Like it's a fucking lot, especially when I have to rewatch them. Don't get me started. So for my next video, homework for you is to watch Heather's the TV series if you can find it, because it was fucking hard to find it. I'm thinking of watching all of the Oscar nominated movies and ranking them, because someone needs to make sense of this, because there's a lot of movies that were nominated that did it deserve to be there? I don't know. Maybe. And that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like down below. Subscribe to my channel. This is a new format, like a recap of everything I've watched. And I'm saying it now. This is a format that I will continue doing if it works. Okay? If y'all like it, sure. And until next time, stay safe, stay sane, stay stupid, and stay stuttering. Bye, guys.